kaijus, giant monsters, buildings being trampled, monsters battling the ever-loving heck out of each other. A woman who is somehow related to the kaiju that actually attacks Seoul, Korea, and not Japan. Interesting. Gloria, Anne Hathaway, is an out-of-work party girl who, after getting kicked out of her apartment by her boyfriend, Dan Stevens, is forced to leave her life in New York and move back to her hometown where she's reunited with her childhood friend, Jason Sudeikis. When news reports surface that a giant creature is destroying Seoul, South Korea, Gloria gradually becomes the realization that she is somehow connected to this far-off phenomenon. As events begin to spin out of control, Gloria must determine why her seemingly insignificant existence has such a colossal effect on the fate of the world. Experience the widely original film critics are calling a great deal of fun, says the New York Times. Truly not a film to be missed. Screen anarchy. And thrilling, funny, original. An instant classic, says comingsoon.net. I was searching for what are some underrated kaiju movies, or one that aren't exactly as well known. Big Man Japan was one. This one's more of an interesting American take. Not like any of the Godzilla movies, but surprisingly romance has to deal with here. So yeah, Anne Hathaway. It's a story of the partying. It's like partying. There's an old school reference for you of booze, waking up in different places, and her not able to get her life together. She's realizing, oh crap, I need to really have a massive reset on my life. So what does Anne do? She decides, okay, Gloria. So she moves back and is like, let's see. And as they are trying, she's trying to figure things out, and it was like, way too much alcohol, wakes up with a hangover, and starts to get her life together when she meets Oscar, not a grouch, who is running a bar. You know, it seems like their lives are going to go throwaway at first. So it's like, okay, so she's going to convince Oscar to reopen a certain part of the bar, the Wild West Side or whatever. You know, it's like things are going good. Until it's discovered that I'm going to try and avoid, and let's just say this. I don't want to say paranoia, but let's just say one of the characters has a sense of a Mr. Nice Guy veil, but once that veil has been revoked, he is a vindictive, angry, revenge-filled man who wants his way. And if he doesn't, he just gets upset. So what happens is a lot of interesting stuff. The monster itself seems to be kinda having the head of Rodan, but it's more skinny. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess this is kind of like, how does one feel about it? It's like, one could say this is the insignificance and problems that manifest during, like, with harbored feelings, and even though it's a 200-foot tall monster, it can be taken out globally or impact the others around you, and also inadvertently impact the other people around you that you don't even know. Like in this case, a giant monster that fortunately goes around eliminating a bunch of people. But is half of it of her figuring things out, and then someone else coming into the other side, and like being the adversary? Because when the monster is in Japan, there's also a robot. So obviously, this is indeed taking influence from anime and kaiju, which it's interesting to see the kaiju being there, but they're not the star of the show. They're more the representations of problems going on, you know. So, which was pretty dang cool. So yeah, we get to see Anne act her butt off, very specifically, you know, being the party woman, but then realizing that her renegade ways and her ways of boozing and partying need to stop, and It's like, okay, so she goes through a whole modicum of figuring out the problems and everything. And it just works out so well. I think, you know, in between starting to start getting her life together and just feeling great. But then, of course, on the opposite side, there's the person with the giant robot, like where he's supposedly supposed to be the defender of everything, but something's going on where he doesn't. And I'm thinking, this is some pretty cool stuff. It gets more in depth as we get to see as the mask falls off the person. Very specifically, there was a scene about an hour and 22 minutes in saying where, you know, all of us would go out to Mexico and scare all the locals with firecrackers. And then he tells like a couple to go, would you mind moving out of the way? Throw some chairs around. Brings out a massively illegal sparkler that's freaking massive. I mean, this thing is just gargantuan. I'm just looking at it like, you know what's the most irresponsible thing you can do in a bar? And this bar is like whiz in the corner or something like that. It's, lo and behold, he lights it and it's almost like the 4th of July in the bar. And it's like, that's the most responsible thing. That showing intimidation to all the people saying, hey, don't mess with me. I can do whatever the heck I want. This is what I do. So, yeah. So, just to see the 180 that our character does, and it really does say, yeah, you gotta watch out for the supposed nice ones when there's ultimately something beneath the veneer. And you just think, yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course, somebody say, oh yeah, there's some plot holes, like saying, how can you keep a firework there for 10 years? How does, like, the grounds work for where all the kaiju action happens and everything like that? And, yeah, I can see that. At this time, Anne Hathaway was feeling artistic in a no man's land, was looking for something, and lo and behold, came across a script for the saying, okay, this is a wholly unique premise. I like what I am seeing. So she got signed on to do that. And, you know, there's unfortunately no, like, behind the scenes. There's only a deleted scene, which is whatever. So, I'm sorry. I recorded three different videos prior to this one. I'm a little freaking tired. And it just, I don't know, the story here feels really well. You know, this was expertly made by a guy named Ignacio Nacho, I forgot his last name, from Route 1 Pictures. Yeah, Nacho Vigalondo. Yeah, and I'll admit, an hour and 50 minutes, it just did fly by. This movie just works well, and I liked it. Here's something funny. Toho threatened to sue, who was that? Route 1 Entertainment and Union Investment Partners and a Voltage Picture, saying, hey, you did not have the right to authorize images of Godzilla being sent over to investors and for test marketing. So there was an out-of-court settlement that we really don't know about. But at the same time, this was getting a little bit of inspiration for a truly different, unique take. I know I have seen this at least once or twice, but yeah. Anne Hathaway is freaking great on it. Freaking Jason Sudeikis with what he's doing is really freaking phenomenal. So yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, you get a couple of characters that are kind of there, I guess. You have a Garth, you have a Joel, and you're just thinking they don't do too much, I guess. But you know, combined with everything, I'm just like saying, hey, let's go with what's different compared to all the other kaiju movies. This one's truly a whole heck of a lot different. So if you ever get the chance, I recommend you watch Colossal.